Okay, this is a brief video on how to make just small, minor edits and changes to the internal academic records portal pages. And those are going to be pretty simple, so this should be a pretty short video. The first thing you'll want to do is watch the navigation video to know how to find those pages. Once you are in Episerver and you have this open, you'll want to go down to the academic records portal, and you'll want to just double click on the home page. This home page is going to be, it should reflect, if you have on-page editing selected, exactly what you see in the public-facing website. So as you can see, important announcements, spring 2021 is the first announcement, and that's exactly what we see here. So this is the interface with which you can edit that content on the home page, and that goes for any other site as well. One quick thing about this, there are two ways to make edits to a page. You can do these on-page edits. First of all, at the very top, you have some interesting functionality I'll run through in a second. But even above that, you have these two different sort of views. You can do the all properties, and then you can do the on-page editing. On-page, I find to be helpful only in this scenario where you're making some very basic edits, because you can tinker with the formatting in a super visualized way, and you can see exactly what it's going to look like for the user on the public site. On the other hand, this isn't bad either, and I prefer all properties because it gives you more options, and it's more common to use this on other pages too. So I tend to favor viewing the page this way. You'll notice my whole sort of page visualization totally disappeared. I do still technically get this visualization here, but this is where you would make basic content changes to the page, and you can see you don't get all the background formatting that's already on the page, so you're not going to be able to see that. But you still can see the way the text is formatted, although I will say sometimes the titles change color and they look a little different right here. This looks like a light purple to me. And if I were to open up the on-page edits, there we go. That's the actual formatting that's going to show up. I don't know why that happens, but I still prefer, again, to be kind of on this area, and that's because I have access to a few other things here. So making a basic edit, to be super basic, if you just need to fix a typo or make some changes, you'll notice the first thing, I just clicked in here, I put in some new values, and as soon as I hit tab on my keyboard or I click outside of this text editing area, one thing happened, and that is that Episerver automatically noticed that I made a change on the page. And it says, hey, it's trying to get your attention. Hey, there are changes that are either ready to be published or that you need to post as ready to be published. That would apply on a more public page, or they just need to be published. And if it's an internal portal page, we can make those changes. I'll go ahead and do that now just for the illustration's sake. You'll notice obviously the page isn't going to change while I'm on it, but if I refresh it, boom, I've got the text that I added to this has been updated on the page. So this is obviously very simple, unimportant, for illustration only, but if you needed to fix a typo, yeah, you would barely even notice anything has changed. Okay, let's get rid of that. So I'm going to go ahead and just delete this, and I'm clicking out of this text area. Again, it just picked up my change. I'm going to go ahead and publish that, and then I go to the page, and it's gone. Very, very simple edit. A few of the other things that are helpful to know on this page, moving to just a little more complicated, is going to be this stuff right here and the URL. So you can actually click that little change button and totally change. I'm not going to now because it affects all the sort of child pages underneath the home page, but maybe I'll show it on a different page. But I could change the URL. It would still have to be academic-records.moody.edu. But what shows up after that is up to me. I can actually make edits to this and change. It could be homepage 1, it could be homepage undergraduate, and that would be the new URL. So Just to be clear, to back up and get a little higher level, this is the editing of pages, not the editing of forms. The top left shows the navigation of pages. Every page is where the content lives, and that includes any media, it includes any form or content block or anything like that. So that'll make sense later, but every form that is edited and built, which is done up in this area, needs a place to live, and that's going to be on a page. The page itself is the URL that the student or the user, faculty member, staff member, whoever it is, they need a page to get to, and the page is the URL. So every page has a URL. It doesn't always have to be shared, but that is how that works, and you can't just make a form, an epi form, and have it available. You have to put it on a page. Again, that'll make sense a little bit later. A couple of other simple things. I've never used the simple address, so I'm not sure what this actually means or what it can do, but a couple things here that are helpful: the display and navigation, and exclude from search results. So this display and navigation has to do with how the page appears. That may be obvious, but you'll notice that let's go to a child page. It's hard to illustrate on a parent page like the home page. So if I were to go to forms, this would be the page that I would see. And indeed, when I go here, this is the page I see. Now, what I don't see is the about 15 pages that are child pages of forms. By child, I mean they're sort of just nestled inside of this page. I'll show you what I mean. If I go to forms in the navigation again, academic records portal, home page is open, and then I go to forms, you'll see that I got about 15 plus pages here. These pages are not strictly visible in the navigation. If I go to, say, the course audit form, this is not a form, this is a page, just to be clear. The form lives on this page, but this is a page. So the course audit form page, again, I've got my URL here, but I don't have the display and navigation checked. What that means is that it doesn't show up down here as viewable. Otherwise, I would have a big, the forms, when it's expanded like this, would have 20 extra links down here, and it would show all the possible forms. Well, I judged that a cleaner way to do that is just to have all the particular forms that I want available listed on this page. I can provide an explanation here if I want. I can create sub-bulleted lists and so on and so forth. So this is a cleaner way to do that. So I've got these pages, they're technically hidden, but I then have links to them on the forms page. So you'll notice, even though they don't show up in the navigation here, I've got the auditing form right here listed on the page. If I click that, it still takes the student to that page, the course audit form page. So I can give out this link, and the form is living on the page. I hope that makes sense. And then exclude from search results. I don't really see the benefit in doing this. What this does is excludes the, it's going to exclude the page from appearing in search, I believe, search engine results as well as site results. So I don't think I would ever find that if this box was checked, I don't think I could find this page on Google if I were looking for the Moody Bible Institute course audit form. Again, I don't really care about, I don't think we need to really care about this. I think I have a test page or a couple test pages that are excluded so that students don't just stumble upon our things that we test. So yeah, that's just these two boxes here, and it has to do with the displaying and the navigation and the excluding from search results. Again, I don't really use this very much. If you ever wanted to, over in the right here, you can actually expire the page, and you can do it. You can expire it immediately. You can remove the expiration. It's pretty simple to use this, or you can schedule it. If you wanted a page to no longer be totally viewable, you could set a date and time for that if you had an impending deadline, although I do have my own opinion on a better way to do that that's more intuitive for the student. I don't usually use this very much, but it can come in handy if you have something you want to make unavailable right away without deleting the page. So that's just some basic edit stuff up top here. Now I'm going to go ahead and go back to the home page. And we've got a few other things just below the darker gray area. We've got structure, header, metadata, styles, scripts, settings. The styles and scripts don't really matter. I'll maybe record a video later on like a couple of, I do some very, very few things with this, but it can come in handy every once in a while if you want to make your page look nicer. Settings, I have no clue what this does, so I wouldn't bother with it. Metadata, same thing. And the header, I'm not really sure I've ever edited that. Okay, this is supposedly the header. Academic requirements report, and then the transcript request appears in the quote-unquote header. So I think those are just links that show up in that particular area. Not sure why. I've just never messed with that. If we ever wanted to expand that, that would be fine. But I don't make any edits here. And then there's structure. So top right. Okay. Okay, yeah. So structure allows you to make some more granular edits to the page. If you know anything about web editing, this page is actually sort of composed of a lot of different smaller areas. You can see that when you, if you click inspect on a given page. I'm using Google Chrome, but you can kind of see like it's sort of what that does is allows you to decode the page a little bit and see that there are all these different parts to the page. And so you can make more granular edits to the center area, to the top right area, to the bottom, and so on and so forth. As you can see, I'm on the page, but instead of making basic edits to just the content, I've gone to structure, and the structure has the master top content area, top first content area, second, main top center, main middle, main top right. This is actually notable because there's some stuff in here. There are a couple of content blocks that live up in the top right. One is this online transcript. The other is a content block for contacting the office. It has our contact info. And so on. So there's that. Bottom left, bottom center, and bottom right. It doesn't look like we're using anything except the top right and then the main middle. And this is a new addition that includes our academic calendar. And so it has all the dates listed, important upcoming dates listed down here at the bottom. So that's a bit on how to make basic edits. And if you ever wanted to update that, let's say you wanted to, it's quite simple. You just click what I understand to be a little hamburger, click edit, and now you're making edits to this particular content block up in the top right, the contact us area. So yeah, that is how you would make just some basic edits to our internal portal page.